What's going on, squad? How we doing today? Sorry for being a little tardy. There's some news that dropped right as I was getting on. So I had to get that posted out really quick. So I apologize for my tardiness, but let's go ahead and hop right in. While we'll get everyone in here really quick, and then we'll talk about the roster moves that the 49ers just made and announced. So what is up, everyone? Let's say hello first. Where's my sourdough squad at the SDS gang? Trey Flowers is available. He absolutely is available per his request. He was released from the Seattle Seahawks today. What's up, fam? Let's go. There's the sourdough squad, SDS gang. We see you. We see you. Drop the SDS if you're in the gang. You know the vibes. You be sure to sack that like button. Love it. What's good, coach? Gang's all here. Love to see it. Love to see it. All right, let's get into it. So the 49ers made a roster move, like I said, right as I was getting on here. They have released running back Jacques Patrick and cornerback Devonte Harris. There's the squad. Let's go. Get in here. We see you. We see you. Look at it. So beautiful. What's good, James? We see you. Let's go. All right. So the 49ers have cut running back Jacques Patrick and cornerback Devonte Harris. The Devonte Harris one, I will forever, ever scratch my head about. The 49ers claimed him off waivers from the Ravens during the offseason. He was hurt the entire time. They kept him on the roster. He made the final 53-man roster and then immediately went to injured reserve. And when he comes back from injured reserve, he gets released. I don't understand it. I don't think I saw one snap from him this year in a 49er jersey. So it honestly felt like he never existed on this team. So imagine that. A guy who made the final 53-man roster literally couldn't even tell you what he looked like as a player. Just because I had never seen him before he came to the 49ers, and now he's off the 49ers, and he's gone. He's gone. I think the news about the 49ers releasing the running back Jacques Patrick is a sign that JaMycal Hasty is set to return. That's good news for me. I like JaMycal Hasty. I like what JaMycal Hasty did earlier this year. I think JaMycal Hasty brings some much needed patience, vision, and cutting ability for the 49ers running backs that they've been missing this year when they've been having to go in and out of dealing with all these different types of running backs, getting rookies up to speed. It's just been a tough situation for the 49ers in regards to the running back position. So hopefully that indicates that JaMycal Hasty will be back. Again, we've released Kerryon Johnson. Kerryon Johnson is no longer here. Jacques Patrick is no longer here. So far, Trenton Cannon is the only one who is really stuck from that wave of running back signings once everyone got hurt. So that's likely what that means to me. I like Hasty. I really do. Hasty probably jumps in front of Trey Sermon at this point. I think Hasty and Elijah Mitchell will be a nice combination. Tio says Hasty runs like he's running for his life. I love it. He's a really hard runner. He's a really hard runner, and he's really good in a phone booth. I talk about I wish I had the two clips back to back so we could literally just watch them and show them together. I don't think I have it up, but there was this one play that JaMycal Hasty did on it was against the Philadelphia Eagles where he You guys know I like my boy McGlinchey, right? He didn't have the best game in the world, but there's also an instance last week where he got blown up. The play got blown up from a McGlinchey pressure, where Jamichael Hasty had the same instance happen to him on the goal line, but he was able to read it and cut on a dime, and actually scored a touchdown off a very similar play, which actually ended up giving a pancake to McGlinchey based on the way Jamichael Hasty ran it. Yeah, it was that jump cut at the goal line. Again, just underrated ability of being able to read your blocks. If they've been won or lost, you don't have to run your same track. You can adjust. And so that's what Hasty's been really, really good at, especially with our offensive linemen who, let's be frank, they're not big power guys. I mean, I think at least on the interior, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot going on with our offensive line, at least per last week. But like I said, there's a lot that goes into that. But good running backs and experienced running backs help offensive linemen quite a bit. So really excited to get that man back, see what he can provide moving forward for the team. So typically, that's the news that I've got so far. There's still a bunch of roster transaction moves coming out. I saw the 49ers were working out someone. I think it was a center. I don't know where it went, but I know they're working out someone right now. Let me see if I can find it really quick. The 49ers are working out a center, John Jalapio. I'm not really familiar with who that is, but it's interesting that the 49ers are working out a offensive lineman who plays center. Don't know what that means. Don't know if that is just a depth situation. Again, they do have Jake Brendel on the roster, who performed decently well in the preseason. So I don't know. I don't know why they're working out a center. So let's reset. Let's reset. This is a Q&A episode. So I want you guys to ask away. Ask your questions. I'll pull them up onto the screen and we'll talk about them, and we'll just go as you guys go. If you guys have points that you want to make, you have thought processes, whatever, just start dropping it into the chat, and then we'll start bringing it up. And that's how this show will be driven today. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear your thoughts on the game. I want to hear your thoughts on the concerns around this team. What is going well? What could be improved upon? Where the optimism is? Where the pessimism is? Let me know. You guys are rocking this show today. So first off, we have Carlos saying, you think we should look at Trey Flowers? Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't mind it. I know Trey Flowers has been abused quite a bit in the Seattle secondary. But at this point, what would it hurt? We get a little bit of intel on Seattle. Maybe it changes. I'm a big fan of change of scenery. Sometimes environments don't suit a certain player's skill set or whatever. You never know. A change of scenery could really, really change a lot. So I wouldn't be opposed to it because he's free. He costs us nothing. And if it doesn't work out, you just cut him. Why would they release Harris when they're so thin at DB? I believe he asked to be released. They probably tried to find a trade. It didn't work out, and he just was like, I don't want to be on this team anymore. So whatever that means, I don't know. But, of course, you're going to have to look into that as well. This just came across a notification that the Houston Texans could trade defensive back Lonnie Johnson. So there could be a potential option. I'm not sure that the 49ers are in the business of trading for secondary depth at the moment. So if they can get something for free, I think that might be where they're looking at right now, to be perfectly honest. Let's see. Are we certain that the Colts are terrible enough that Sudfeld can step up and get a W? It's not set in stone that Sudfeld is starting. It's not set in stone that Jimmy Garoppolo is starting, although that's where it's trending. And it's also not set in stone that Trey Lance isn't going to be available. So I'm not ready to start talking about Sudfeld yet until we absolutely have to talk about it. I'm of the mindset are we certain that and or Trey Lance with the offense and the way they're operating and what they're doing and what they're outputting, was that going to beat the Colts? Based on what we saw last night, I don't know. It's going to be a tough situation because the 49ers offense had just been sputtering, for a lack of a better word. Why do you think Kyle has gotten away from run and play action? I don't know. I feel like every defense that the 49ers have faced know what they're doing. I think that's a lot of the reasons why we have perceived issues with the offensive line, specifically against, the Eagles, Green Bay, and a lot against the Seattle Seahawks, is because they're showing vanilla looks, and they're showing looks that the defense is prepared for and have studied well. And just like, I know the example that we use a lot is have been using a lot is the this makes sense. I know why we're working out a center, because the Chargers signed Sione Kilamete off our practice squad onto their active roster. So that's why we need a replacement offensive lineman on our practice squad. That's why we're trying someone out. But in regards to the run action and play action, I don't know, because we talked about this at length yesterday. The 49ers are a run-first team, and that's how they've been built. Their offensive line is a run-first offensive line. So when you run empty and you're dropping, doing your, the typical like drop back pass game with 5 to 7 step drops, hell, even like almost like 8 to 9 step drops, it felt like. That changes the entire way the offensive line functions. This team is predicated on running the football and running it well, running outside zone, and then running play action off of it. And you can see when they get away from that, it's not pretty football. And I think when we look at the offense as a whole, we're like, what's the identity? And I think that's kind of what we're pointing back to, is what are we looking at here? What's the thought process? Why are we going away from something that isn't even in the realm of like what we've been practicing? And I don't think fans really understand, like, the offense that we saw against the Cardinals had been implemented in a week. That wasn't implemented in training camp. That wasn't implemented in preseason. That was implemented in a week. Do you expect these guys to be successful with that type of acclimation time to a new scheme and a new style? Trey Lance did not run that scheme in college. So it's completely different to everyone. That's what is the biggest head scratcher to me. Jeff Wilson coming back after the bye? Probably not. I think they're aiming more for November from everything I've heard. So I would start looking maybe mid-November with Jeff Wilson, but Jeff Wilson would be a nice addition back. What's the best bet for us to become our 2012 team? I think this is one of the hardest things that fans have to deal with in regards to expectations, is because we're always comparing. Is this a 2012 team? Is this a 1994 team? Is this the 2019 team? And sometimes that's where a lot of us as fans get in trouble, is we put expectations like this isn't a brand new team with a brand new roster with again, these players are either taking a step forward in their development or they're taking a step back. There's no in between. So again, like we've we've been decimated with injuries, with certain key players that would contribute to us being a 2012 team, a 2019 team. But again, we're the 2021 San Francisco 49ers. And I think if we start looking at it from a week-to-week basis, what do we have to do each week? Not looking the rest of the 12 games, not looking ahead to the next division game, just Colts. Just watch the Colts and let's see what team we can be against the Colts, because I think that's just the biggest thing right now is that we're so discombobulated that we aren't any other like we've never seen this version of the 49ers. We've never seen this. So we have to stop trying to compare them to any other era. Even last year, they're not the 2020 49ers. They're not the 2019 49ers. They're the 2021 49ers. And so I think if we can just analyze and view through that lens, I think it makes it feel less painful when they're not performing to the level that we have seen in years past, if that really makes sense. Do you think Josh Norman? What do you think of Josh Norman? He had a hard assignment last week. He has lots of penalties. He's very handsy. He uses his hands a lot, and it gets him in trouble from time to time. But he's okay. He's like in position. He's in phase for the most part. You know, Hopkins beat him on a real bad comeback. Again, it was just a really good play by Hopkins. Hopkins just waited for him to turn his hips and bite on a certain route, and he just came back. And so it's just two veterans going at it. I mean, he's been okay. He hasn't like blown the socks off or anything like that. And as you guys know, super chats go to the front on Q&As, and then I'll try and fall back in line. David says, any chance we make a run at the playoffs this year with this team? There's still a chance. And I think part of the discussion, like I was talking about earlier, about like trying not to compare to the 2012 team, trying not to compare to the 2019 team, is like they still have a chance of how we sit right now. I think a lot of fans forget that the 2020 San Francisco 49ers, you know, the terrible year of all the injuries, they had a chance at the playoffs up until the very end. And I know it's hard to like really remember that and put that into context and use that perspective. But remember how bad we were last year. Last year was terrible. I think last year was worse than what was going on this year. And they still had an opportunity to go to the playoffs last year. So with all that being said, yes, there's still a chance. There's 12 games left. We have no idea how this league is going to shake out. What happens if Kyler Murray breaks his leg? What happens if, I don't know, the entire offensive line for the Rams gets decimated? What happens if, you know, Russ just is out the whole year? Like everything can change in this league in a blink of an eye. So as long as they're mathematically still in it, which they are, I still give them a shot because again, they're 2-3. They could be 4-1. They could be 5-0. But they've been playing like ass, but they still could have been at least 3-2. Probably should have been 4-1. Absolutely could have no. So when you look at all those different types of scenarios and you look towards the future, do they still have a chance? I think so. But that requires them to execute and develop a game plan and have an identity on the offensive side of the football. I think it's pretty damn clear that all the struggles surrounding this team start and stop with the offense. I feel very confident with how the defense is playing. The special teams has been okay. I think Mitch Wishnowski's been doing a really good job of helping field position. Sly looked decent, so I think he can be okay. I just think it starts and stops with the offense. It really, really starts and stops with the offense right now. So hopefully hopefully it can get a little bit better. All right, I'm way behind on questions, so I'm gonna try to skim through and catch up, and then hopefully get back to the bottom. Well, so Coach says Kyle gets a ton of flack for all things Niners. At what point are we looking at John Lynch and Adam Peters for the draft picks not being contributors? Seems like everything goes wrong is on Kyle. Well, see, this is the thing is like, I don't think people know. I don't confidently know who is, because based on this last draft season, John Lynch was literally deferring all personnel questions to Kyle Shanahan. So in my opinion, that tells me that Kyle Shanahan has the end all be all in regards to final say with the roster. So honestly, again, we don't know. I don't think it's a clear kind of differentiate, like there's not a clear line in the sand of like who does what, because it feels like that it's Kyle Shanahan. It feels like Kyle Shanahan's making a lot of these calls. And I also would have to say that I think when it gets towards the later part of the draft is actually when I think Adam Peters and his staff takes over and really drafts these late round gems. So that's what I think. That's what I feel. Do I know that for a fact? I don't. But based on how I've heard other teams draft in the past, kind of the philosophy from like war room to war room, it typically feels like, the head coach and the GM are really, really involved with those big time, like gotta pan out picks. But when it comes to the later picks, the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round, I've heard that they've let their scouts that make picks, their player personnel directors that make picks, because they have done all that homework. They know all the guys, the diamonds in the roughs, because they had to put those reports together. They had to do all that stuff. So I don't know. Like we could literally be looking at a situation where Kyle's drafting the first half of these drafts and Peters is drafting the back half. And if that's the case, who has better drafts? We seem to hit on the back half. We seem to have a really hard time on the front end. Again, 49ers traded up for CJ Beathard. Is my Wi-Fi bad again? Sorry about that. So again, it's like I think Kyle makes a lot of these moves. And he's the offensive coordinator and he's the head coach. So at a certain point, when the offense isn't working, regardless of personnel, I don't care about personnel at this point. It's a crap. They call the draft a crapshoot, right? But in regards to how personnel is being executed, in regards to scheme, in regards to all that, it's not going smooth. And that starts with Kyle. It just starts with him. So typically, that's where you go to when you start to see issues. You start to see concerns that are above execution, above player personnel. We're talking about scheme issues. We're seeing defenses line up against this offense consistently, knowing what they're doing. That to me is more of a scheme concern than a player personnel concern. And so who do you look at? You look at the offensive coordinator. So do I think there is a lot of crazy backlash on Kyle Shanahan that's not deserved? Yeah, I do, 100%. But he's also not putting together a game plan that is building any confidence in anyone. He's not using his guys in a way that is putting any confidence in his fan base, putting any confidence in guys who actually understand football. You don't have to take my word for it. Go look at Brian Baldinger, he does Baldy's breakdowns. Go look at his tweets of the game. You can tell he got through like 2 drives of offense, and then just gave up. And then he threw out the tweet, like, where he's like, what, we can't analyze anything here. And that's part of it. Like, you're looking at a game. I'll pull, let me see if I can pull it up. Let me see if I can pull it up just so we can all read it together. Because I think Brian Baldinger, who does work with the 49ers, they collaborate and do things together. He's not going out of his way to destroy anyone. He's not going out of his way to like make a comment that is baseless. He's saying these things for a reason. So let's read it together. Just why not? Why not, right? Let's bring the context into the conversation. And then we'll go from there. So let's see. Share screen. Here we go. So this is what Brian said. And like I said, if you go back, I'll show you how it like looks on a timeline stand. He breaks down Trey Lance, this video right here. It's not a good, like, he's basically like, what are we doing? Because if we want to watch it, we might as well. So essentially what he's saying, this is the first play of the game. This is the first play of the game. They called the wrong protection. So you always slide protection as an offensive line. You're either moving right or you're moving left. That's just how it works every single time. And guess where you're sliding protection? You're sliding protection to the overloaded side. So here's the center, right? You got two guys on your offensive line over here, two guys on your offensive line over here. How many guys are on this side of the center? There's three. How many are on this side of the center? If you look off screen, there's no defensive end. So there's two. That would tell you that the overload side is to their right. So a call that I would make or my quarterback would make, like let's say I was playing from schemes that I've been in, we would call out Ricky. That tells us that as an offensive lineman, I'm sliding to the right. So when you slide to the right, that means Mike gets here, Brunskill gets here, and then you get Mac going here. But look where Mac goes. Watch. He's sliding the wrong way. He's sliding to the side that only has two people. And so then you look at this side. This is the first play of the game, guys. First play of the game. And then a not great rep by Brunskill, but you have arguably one of the best pass rushers in the NFL who's standing next to J.J. Watt running free. So shout out Rich Madrid, who does a ton of breakdowns on Twitter. He actually asked former offensive lineman on the 49ers about how they go about calling protections, because I actually thought that Mac called these protections. So I would typically look at this and say, Mac made a mistake. Mac called the wrong protection. He's sliding the wrong way. He should be sliding to his right. But from what Rich Madrid had said is that the centers aren't allowed to switch the protections. It's on the quarterback. So that was wild to me. That was wild to me that this play is actually a function of Trey Lance. But if you're a head coach, your offensive coordinator, why are you putting that responsibility on your rookie quarterback to get your offensive line ready to go? And the first play you're running is out of an empty set. And it's just crazy, man. It's like, this is the first play of the game. This is day one stuff as an offensive lineman. Like, where we slide. You slide on every play. You're sliding to the right or you're sliding to the left. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And the fact that they didn't even give us like a crazy exotic look either. It's very simple. It's very simple to see the overloaded side. And just didn't do it. So again, the whole point of actually what I wanted to talk about was like what Baldy was saying. So he basically is talking about like, okay, these first couple plays are trash. They're all mixed up. They're not doing the right things. Again, talking about coming out in empty sets, which again puts the emphasis on your rookie, puts the emphasis on the rookie. Guess what? Defenses aren't playing the run. They're not. They're pinning their ears back and they're coming after that rookie. And then, but this is what I wanted to say, because you can tell he was doing this like live, like he was dropping them as he was watching. And he basically stopped and said, he added the 49ers. He straight up added them and says, how can I or anyone else analyze your prize rookie quarterback when everyone else around him was so bad? It's just not fair to Trey Lance. He deserves a better effort from this team, making this so hard to watch. I mean, that's Baldy, man. I think we can all understand that Baldy's watched enough football to really be able to understand what is trying to be accomplished, especially on the offensive line. Again, he's a former offensive lineman. He knows that life. He knows he's from the trenches out as well. So again, it was when it is that bad, when it is that kind of not good, there is someone you look to. You look to the person who's calling it, who's designing it, who's like Kyle executed a lot of things. Now, again, has Kyle gotten a ton of unfair criticism? 100%. But Baldy's 100% right as well. Like, what are we looking at? What are we watching? We just watched a scheme get thrown out there that we didn't even see in training camp. Like, what are we doing? So the offensive line doesn't know how to block it. The quarterback has the weight of the world on his shoulders. I think Jason Aponte did a really, really good job on the sprint right option, because again, we're looking at the Chicago Bears for comparison's sake. They had just switched play calling. They took play calling away from Bill Nagy and they gave it away to Bill Lazor. And Jason Aponte made a fantastic point. And when they made that switch, what was happening beforehand is that the ball was in Justin Fields' hands too much. He was being asked to do too much, and it was making everything not work as a result. And so what they did was they handed the ball off 34 times to a running back. Again, Trey Lance was the leading rusher with 16. The Chicago Bears helped Justin Fields by handing the ball off 34 times. Again, this is a run-first team. This is a run-first offensive line. This is they predicate everything off play action and disguise and boots and nakeds, and we didn't see a lot of that. So that's, yeah, how do we analyze? What are we analyzing? What scheme are we analyzing? We don't even know. So it's tough, man. There's a lot, right? There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of stuff going back and forth with the whys and the hows. So apparently, if Devonte Harris and Jacquizz Patrick pass through waivers, they will revert back to the practice squad. So I don't know. I think this is the problem, is that because understand why and what we saw, it's created a lot of questions. You guys know, like I keep that thing on me. I keep that tinfoil hat on me at all times, but there are a lot of tinfoil narratives out there about what is going on here. And rightfully so. Like, this has almost been brought upon themselves at this point. So I don't know. I would love to ask Kyle just like what the thought process was, like what the baseline thought process was. Like, are we trying to protect Trey, or are we trying to showcase Trey? And honestly, how I would like to see it gone about was, let's protect Trey in his first NFL start. He's a rookie. His confidence is fragile. Um, so and so the thing about this too, um, Rome says Mark Sanchez was calling out quarterback runs every time. In training camp, Trey Lance didn't play behind the ones. And when he did get the handful of one reps, they did the first play Trey Lance ever ran in training camp behind the starting offensive line was a quarterback power. But Trey Lance continued to go on for, I don't know, less than 10 reps, less than 10 first team reps, the rest of training camp. So how do you get in rhythm? That's what I think is why all these questions are bubbling up, and like narratives and weird stuff. It's just because no one understands. I don't understand. I've been following this team. You guys know I've been trying my hardest to track literally every move that has been going on since January, and I don't understand the logic. Coach says Kyle protected Trey. Buda Baker had an early pick and could have had more. Kyle did his best to keep us in the game without shooting ourselves in the foot. I mean, again, like the pick was just again a rookie mistake. I don't think he was protected at all, to be honest. Again, I saw a lot of situations where you protect Trey by running the football. You protect not by him running the football, but you have running backs and you hand off to the running backs, and you have an offensive line who's a run first offensive line, and you run the football. And they were doing that pretty well. I think Elijah Mitchell had like 9 for 48 or something like that, but he had less than 10 carries. We understand that that's not a winning formula. Kyle has said it himself. He wants 30 touches out of his running backs to win football games. So if that's Kyle's formula, and he said that himself, why wasn't that done? Again, it's not like Trey Lance was a spread option quarterback. He did not come out of Texas Tech. He was not Patrick Mahomes. He came out of a prototypical pro style offense that actually resembled Kyle's quite a bit in regards to the complexity, in regards to showing multiple looks and countering off those looks. So that's what I'm having a hard time understanding about the scheme. Is I saw a scheme that fits no one. I didn't see a scheme that fit anyone on that team. Like, Trey Lance isn't a running quarterback. Trey Lance can play from the pocket. Trey Lance can execute play action. Trey Lance can take snaps under center. We didn't see that. Like, why wasn't that the base offense? And that's my question. Those are like, if I had to have an honest question or honest sit down with Kyle Shanahan, those are the questions that I'm asking. I'm just like, I just want to know, like you had a week to prepare. Trey Lance has run Jimmy's offense all camp, all preseason, everything else. So why are we somehow like implementing this hybrid spread scheme that no one knows how to operate? The offensive line literally didn't know how to protect Trey because they didn't know where he was going. They don't practice QB powers enough to be very fluid with it. So honestly, I mean, I get it. I get where you're coming from, Coach. I understand there's a lot of heat coming on to Kyle, but I think just the bigger questions is that at least I can only speak for myself. I can only speak for myself. I just want to know why. Why did we do that? Because I don't see how it benefits Trey Lance. I don't see how it benefits our running backs. I don't see how it benefits our wide receivers. I don't see how it benefits our offensive line. That's me. That's me. Um, I have been, but I also feel like, as being me, I have been pounding the table for the 49ers to run the football. I just want to see it. I think Elijah Mitchell is more than capable of running it. Can he get better? Yes. All these rookies can get better. Absolutely. I think all the rookies can get better. But I still think I'm not seeing like this concerted effort to get them moving in the right direction, if that makes sense. Coach says, how many times did we flip the field and give our defense tons of real estate to protect? We weren't finishing multiple fourth down plays. Kyle gave our offense a ton of opportunities. No running game. Our O-line gets bodied. Like I said, there's a lot of things. It's not just Kyle. It's not. It's really not, Coach. It's not just Kyle. But just like anything in life, when you want to hold someone accountable, you hold the person in charge accountable, typically. Like, I've seen people get fired over something they haven't done. And that's just how it is. That's how things are set up. And when your head coach is your offensive coordinator who's designing the plays and calling the play calls, that's what comes with the territory. Do I agree there were terrible refs and terrible calls? Yes. Were there bad holdings and mistimed penalties caused by the 49ers players? Yes. Were there execution problems? Yes. Where was there no running game? Yes. Was the O-line getting bodied? Yes. But guess what? You could have called different plays in a different, at least in my opinion, you could have called the game differently to protect these things. Again, you guys know I'm all about this offensive line. I've studied every snap from this offensive line that they've played, and offensive linemen need help. Offensive linemen need to be put in a position to be successful. I'm not seeing a ton of that. I'm not seeing a ton of that now, but we also knew going into this that this offensive line does struggle with interior power and interior pressure and all of those kinds of things. So what do? We run outside zone. We run pitches, and then we boot off of them because you know why? It keeps the defensive line honest. It keeps them holding their gap responsibility. It changes their entire thought process of attacking offensive linemen and trying to get to the quarterback. And I'm not seeing a situation, or at least I didn't see enough of a situation where I felt like Kyle was doing those things, aiding his offensive line, aiding his rookie quarterback. I felt like it got to a point in the game where it was Trey Lance versus everyone. And I don't think that's not what I would prefer. I'm sure deep down you wouldn't prefer that either, Coach, from your rookie quarterback in his first NFL start against a formidable defense in the Cardinals. So, again, when you're the OC, you're the head coach, you're the play designer, and your offense isn't working, guess where the responsibility falls? It falls at your doorstep. And whether it's fair or unfair, that's how it's been set up and how it's being perceived. So it's like I said, there's so many layers to this. But I feel like from that perspective, maybe could have been better. I mean, I don't. What do you feel, Coach? Do you feel like we can all agree that there were execution errors, bad timing of penalties that killed drives, all that kind of stuff. But like when we can objectively take a step back and be like, "Do we like the way these plays were called?" I don't personally love it because again, like I said, it goes against everything that I've seen from my days back at training camp to now, what they've been doing and executing. uh I don't know. So there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of reasons that go into all of it. I just think there are, again, like people, that's what fans want to do. They want to hold people accountable. They want to understand like all of it. And at the end of the day, it does all start and stop with Kyle. So um I don't think it was like I said, I don't think Kyle should be fired. I don't think we should be having those kinds of conversations. We're just asking ourselves why they deviated or appears to deviate. It appears to feel like they went away and continue to go away from what works. Now we get it. They're down running backs. They're down Mostert. They're down Jeff Wilson. They have rookies that are clearly still learning how to run behind this offensive line. So I get it. I get where you're coming from. I just feel like, you know, I felt like Trey wasn't the one that should be taking any blame for that loss. Because I felt like at one point it was just Trey out there. And I don't like that feeling. I don't like that feeling of being like, why is this on our rookie quarterback shoulders? And that is a function of the offensive coordinator, which happens to be our head coach, which happens to be the guy who drafts everyone. So again, it's just a hard like situation when we're trying to kind of look at everything. What is coach saying? Coach says, I got no problem with the plays if the boys aren't executing and they're pros. How is this on Kyle? Missed blocks, stupid penalties, dropped passes, Trey missed reads. This is a complete 360 failure. I agree, but also you're running a scheme that they don't run. That's the point. How is anyone going to be good at anything that they don't do consistently? This isn't a drop back passing team, yet they found themselves in empty formations more often than not. That's the point. And they found themselves passing out of those situations. And you have an inexperienced quarterback who's tasked with calling protections with an offensive line that you know is only giving you 2.5 seconds to throw the football. Like, there are layers to this. I get what, like, trust me, coach, I get what you're saying, man. I get what you're saying. But it's also on Kyle. Like, all those things are true. Missed blocks, stupid penalties, dropped passes, Trey missing reads. That all happened. And also what happened was coach didn't put his team in a position to be as successful as they could have. All things can be true. All things can be true. It doesn't just have to be one or the other. So I get where you're coming from, coach. But like I said, as an offensive lineman, as someone who, like, again, like if I knew my offensive line was not well suited against the pass, right? And he said, cut the tape on. Oh, we're going to get to the tape. We're going to get to the tape. Don't worry. Don't worry, my guy. We're going to pull up the tape and I'll be better suited to talk about that. And you know, I will, when we got the tape in front of me. We're going to talk about it and we're going to get into all of that. And we're going to see so many instances where coach is exactly right. Offensive lineman failed, or person dropped the pass, or Trey missed a read, or got out of a read too quickly. Like, we're all going to see all of that. But I think part of that is as well is on Shanahan. Like, we can all agree that I think each person deserves their part of the responsibility. I don't think that's too crazy to think about. Because, Coach, tell me this: do you think Shanahan is responsible for any of those issues? Do you think he's responsible for none of the issues against Green Bay, against Seattle, against the Eagles? Or is that just pure no one's executing? It's just an execution situation. Because I'm seeing a lot of scheme stuff. I'm seeing the 49ers get out schemed. And when I see the 49ers get out schemed, that's a coaching thing. I can't, as an offensive lineman, I can't come up to the line and I'm running zone right, and I have a guy in my outside shade who knows it's zone right. He knows I have to reach him, and he's going to fight through that and go make the play because he understands what I'm doing. And when you continue to see that over and over and over and over again on tape, that's coaching. Like, so I get it. We don't have to keep beating this thing to death. I'm personally of the thought process that all the things that coach said are true, but same with coaching. I don't think anyone had a good day on the offensive side of the football against the Cardinals. So that's how I feel. Again, I still got more study to do, and the vibe. We're gonna come back and we're gonna pull up the tape. And coaches brought up a lot of things that we'll probably review and we'll look at. And we'll look at the hows and the whys. We'll look at a guy missing his offensive assignment on the O-line. We'll see another guy get a penalty. We'll see another guy drop a ball. We'll see a bad scheme. We'll see all of it. So it is what it is. So I think, how about this? Because I think the bigger issue here, the bigger issue here is no one knows what's going on. And so as a result, there's just a lot of stuff being thrown against the wall and everyone's trying to see what sticks. We're just like, well, is this it? Is that it? Or is it this? Like, all of us right now, we can at least agree on that the 49ers offense isn't operating as it should. Can we all have a fair assessment of the offense? That regardless of who's responsible for it, whether it's Trey at quarterback or Jimmy at quarterback, the offense is not operating. It's not. So I don't care who's at fault. I really don't. I really don't care who takes the blame for this one. I'm telling you what I think from my perspective, but at the end of the day, I don't care. I really don't. What I care is that our playmakers make plays, our offensive linemen block, our running back are patient and read running lanes, our quarterbacks are reading their progressions on time and hitting throws on time and taking care of the football. Our receivers are catching passes and running correct routes. That's what I care about. Like, I really don't care who's at fault. I don't. But if you're going to ask me who's at fault, it all starts and stops with the head coach. We see you, Luke. I hope that tattoo work's coming in good, man. Appreciate you, man. So who we got? What else we got? All right. We ranted a little bit. Let me get back to the questions. Start dropping the questions in the chat, and we'll do some rapid fire questions. I tend to get long winded, especially when Coach and I get going. I don't know this actually. How many points from field goals could we have had? What did Kyle prove by making Trey fail over and over again. So I think this is kind of what Coach was talking about. Like, on one hand, I understand you don't want to, like, if you can get points, you want to take advantage of being able to get points, which I understand. But, like, for example, that touchdown, the stop on the 1, I had no problem with that. Like, if you look at the play design, I actually like that play design. It's actually something that was fitting more into what I wanted to see. Guess what? Trey Lance was under center. They were at the 1-yard line. They were showing an I formation. It looks like there's a strong chance that they could run it up the middle. And what do? They run a play action boot, essentially, which is an RPO, which is either Trey passes it or he runs it himself. I like that call. I think that's a creative call. They ran that against Seattle on a 4th and 1 as well. And Trey Lance converted it on a fourth and short against Seattle. Very similar scenario. Okay, well, he did it again on a goal line in a short yardage situation where it looks like they're getting prepared to run up the middle, and they run a play action boot. I have no problem with that. That's the kind of countering that I want to see. My only thing is what Trey Lance realized and noticed was that NFL defenders don't move as easily as FCS guys. So rather than seeing Trey Lance go head, like he squared up and went head up with those two guys, you could have just angled it towards the pylon. You could have kept your forward momentum. You could have kept your speed. You didn't have to angle upfield, and you could have just reached for that pylon. That's what I would have. That's my only adjustment there. I thought the call was good, actually. I didn't mind it. Like I said, it's an RPO. It's a high percentage play in the sense that Trey Lance gets out in the open. You move the pocket, and he has the whole field in front of him to either throw it or tuck it and run. So I thought that's actually one of the better play calls that they had made, and the sequences that they had made that game. It was just a better play by their defense. It was just a better play by their defense. But like I said, the only critique I would give of Trey is just go for the pylon rather than taking your momentum and then squaring it up at two people. That's just physics. Like, he's a strong man. He's a very strong man, but you can still just keep that angle going. You're already on the angle. Just keep the angle going. Go to the pylon and get it in, rather than trying to go heads. So that's the only difference that I saw there. What other failed 4th down was there? I'm blanking on it. But I think, like, this is what Coach is talking about. Like, what did Kyle prove by making Trey fail and over again? I don't think Kyle was trying to make Trey prove or fail over and over again, unless that's, like, again, those are the conspiracy theories of why he ran the scheme he ran and did certain things that he did, is because it's being perceived as Coach made him fail. I don't know. I don't think that's the case. Why would you want that? Why would you want your prized possession to look bad? I don't know. I haven't done my full study on offensive line. That's coming. I'm doing all of that tonight. So tomorrow will be film heavy. Tomorrow, multiple things. Tomorrow. Film heavy tomorrow. So film review tomorrow. And Jason Aponte tomorrow. Let's go. My boy Jason Aponte was on heat. My boy Jason Aponte was on fire on the Sprint Right Option podcast. If you guys haven't listened to it, he was on point. A lot of passion from my guy. But I'm excited to have him on tomorrow. We're going to talk about the game. I thought he had great points. Like I said, he brought up the whole comparison between the way Justin Fields was managed versus the way Trey Lance was managed. So I'm excited to get him on tomorrow. That should be at 1:30. So Jason Aponte, and then right after that, we'll do our film review session. um, and break that down. So I'm excited to get my boy on here. Hopefully, I could poke him a little bit, get him a little spicy on here too. I already told him. I was like, bro, I'm gonna try and think of as many questions as I can to get you riled up because he was on point and he was spicy. I loved it. Um, oh yeah, this one. The fourth down play where they ran the juice, like quarterback sneak with the fullback thing again. Yeah, I think everyone's upset with this play, and I think rightfully so. I just, you put it on tape, right? You put it on tape, and the week before they put it on tape. It was either that week or the week before. It's on tape. It's fresh in everyone's mind. When you see a fourth and short situation, you see Trey Lance in the shotgun, you see Juszczyk coming in motion, and he angles towards the center. They knew what that was instantly, like instantaneously knew what that was. That's scheme, right? That's scheme. That's coaching. That's play calling. That's coaching. Um, what would have been phenomenal coaching, which what I would have loved to see, which is what I'm not seeing from Kyle this year, and this might be a great microcosm of Kyle this year, is in those instances where the other defense is expecting something out of Kyle does something different. We aren't seeing that from Kyle this year, and I felt like that was a perfect example. Fresh in everyone's mind. Juszczyk comes down. They instantly take their two linebackers and pinch them in the A gaps. You already had a nose guard and you had 2-3 techs, and then you take the two backers and you pinch them into the A gaps. You're not going anywhere, bro. That was a long 4th and 1. Like they had a long way to go. So the second they brought those linebackers down into the A gaps, that play was done. It was dead on arrival. So what I would have hoped to see and what I would have liked to see was a wrinkle off of that. Essentially meaning and thinking, again, the microcosm of what I'm not seeing from coach are the counters off of things. That would have been a perfect opportunity to counter off of what you put on tape the week before. You have Trey Lance, who you've been running all over the yard all day. This could even be an RPO. It could be a run pass option. So the second Juice comes down, Juice keying, like that's the thing. Juice is keying on the linebackers. The linebackers pinch. That tells Juice, that tells Trey, let's run pitch. Let's pitch it. Just a quick boop pitch. And they're not ready to stop it. It catches them off guard. And Trey Lance, and like I said, you could even have it be a RPO where maybe you have a tight end leak on the backside. So as Trey Lance, like say you pitch it to Trey and someone's staying on Trey and it doesn't look like he's gonna make it, you could have a tight end leaking on the backside that'd probably be wide open and just dump it, or run it. And those are the things that when we're looking at Kyle Shanahan, we aren't seeing that. We aren't seeing the genius, the wizard. Where's that? Where are those plays? Because it's just those are the things that I think people are trying to like wrap their heads around. Like, Coach says we don't have an O-line. We don't have the O-line for a counter, Brad. Guys are in the backfield all day. We simply don't have the time. If we can't move the ball 2 feet, what makes you think we can hold the backside on a counter? I wasn't saying like a counter trap. I wasn't saying run a counter where you crash the backside and you pull, or front side and bring everyone around. I was saying like a literal counter action, like a counter play to show one thing and do another. Yeah, you don't run counter in that situation. I'm just saying you could completely change. You can show one thing and do another, which helps your guys, which puts the defense in a position to think. And guess what? This is one of my favorite things to say about defenders. Defenders are dumb. That's why they're playing defense. They're not dumb. They're not dumb. But they're highly instinctual. They do a lot off instinct. So the point of being an offensive mind is you play on their instinct. You try to get them to, you bait them. You bait them one way, and then you go the other. And guess what? As a result, everyone is helped in the process. Your offensive line is helped because they're already slanting into your block, slanting away from where you're trying to reach. That's helpful for guys like me trying to block guys up front. It's a lot harder when the guy in front of me knows exactly where the ball is going and he's beating me to my spot. I can't do anything about that. And that's the point. If I have a 3 tech to my right and I'm playing center and he knows it's already going to be an outside zone, I have zero shot of reaching that. I have zero shot of reaching that, yet who gets blamed for it? I do. When in reality, that ain't my fault because you know for a fact I ain't reaching that. Who is reaching that? Who's teleporting to the 6 tech to be able to gain that leverage and turn someone? That's very hard. It's very difficult. And that's the point, is that it seems that we are putting our guys in a position where things are difficult, more difficult than it needs to be. And that's it. That's it. Which Sean said the play was already set up. The whole defense was pinching. Easiest block in the world for our linemen. I don't know what we're talking about. Coach liked it though. So like I said, it keeps coming back to like this topic, right? I think that's part of it, is that we notice it keeps coming back to here. And whether you agree or disagree, it just doesn't feel like everyone's on the same page. And I think we can agree with that. 4th down play with juice. I got to pull it up. He didn't block down. All he had to do was pinch down and flopped on the 3 tech. So I don't know. That could be absolutely right. That could be absolutely right. Like I said, I haven't done my study yet. So that's why I've not been trying to do like what I've watched off the broadcast. But you might be right. But again, I think the point of the matter is the countering. The disguising what you're trying to do. Does that make sense? Just block down towards the center. I mean, yeah, that's typically what you do. If you watch Alex Mack, he straight up, he nosedives. He gets under. He just dives at the legs of the nose tackle. I can't talk specifics about that specific play. I can only talk specifically of how I remember it being played. And all I can remember is when Juice came under center is they pinched the A-gaps. So to me, I feel like if you were a head coach, you would anticipate that was going to happen. And that makes it harder on everyone when they are anticipating that play. But like I said, you could have always done something to counter off of that. Not an actual counter, just a counter off of what you are showing and have done. I mean, there's a lot of issues on the O-line that aren't just performance based. There's a lot of miscommunications that are going on. And so like Rich said today, he asked, the protections aren't called by the center, which actually kind of surprised me a little bit. So right now the protections are called on or from the quarterback. So that's a lot. That means the quarterback has to identify the mic, identify the overloaded side, call the protection, then diagnose the pre-snap coverage, and then do whatever, checks or whatever he needs to do before the play. And then he snaps the ball. And if it's a pass, he's got to reread the coverage or process it through how he processed it pre-snap, because they're disguising and falling out and doing all the rotating coverages. So there's a lot. That's a lot to ask for a guy getting his first start. Now, granted, Trey did that in college. Trey called his own protections at North Dakota State. He did all that. So it's not like the first time he's done it. So I don't know. Someone said, so do the Niners need to replace Foster, the O-line coach? I don't think so. Again, I'm gonna hold my critiques on the offensive line because I haven't done the study yet. Like Coach was saying, watch the tape. I haven't done the tape study yet on the offensive line. So again, I could be misspeaking about the fourth down play where they went for it. I don't know, maybe there's a whiff block apparently or something. So like I said, makes me want to pull it up right now and try and find it. Hold on. I kind of want to find it right now. You're making me want to find it. Let's see. Where is it? So otherwise, I mean, I feel like we're kind of going round and round. Oh, here we go. So maybe while I look at it, Coach has a question for the chat. So I'll read it, and then I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Coach says, if Trey starts, how patient are you willing to be for his development, especially if Trey is getting better, but we're losing game? Pick your poison. Can't expect Kyle to win at all costs and develop. What are you guys' thoughts? Drop it in the chat. What do you guys think? Are you guys willing to be patient with Trey Lance? Grow with the bumps and the bruises. Obviously, there's a lot of upside with Trey Lance. I don't think Trey Lance is like a typical pocket quarterback when they're struggling. It's just kind of they live and die by their reads. They live and die by their progressions and timing and those types of things. Obviously, Trey Lance has the ability with his feet, but Coach asked a good question. Are you guys willing to be patient? Because I know a lot of people aren't, and you can tell based on how people are basically looking at the game against the Cardinals, and they're analyzing Trey. He's a rookie. So you should automatically understand he's going to make mistakes. People are acting like it's a bit crazy that he made rookie mistakes. Latanya says, Coach, we ain't winning and he ain't getting developed. And oh boy, what do you say to that, Coach? Damn, she went straight for the throat, bro. Oh, she went straight for the throat. Whew. Sorry, I thought that was funny because it's lightweight on point, in my opinion. I mean, I was at training. I told you, man. I was at training camp. I was like, this dude ain't getting developed. he's running a scheme that is not his scheme, clearly. And we saw that all training camp. We know he's running scout team at practice. So he isn't getting developed. He isn't. And we're not winning games. Oh, man, she went for the jugular. Damn. That's wild. That was funny. That made me laugh. Good. I like that one. Oh, boy. We got a long 2 weeks ahead of us, guys. We got a long 2 weeks ahead of us. Yeah, I know. I'm getting a little bit depressed, too. I feel like we keep talking about the same thing. So how about this? Let's call it for the day. We'll try to come back with some better vibes. I don't know if it's going to happen tonight. I think me and Javi are doing a pod later tonight. But tomorrow, let's do big tape review tomorrow. How about that? I think that's what we all need. I think we all need a healthy dose of watching the tape. And then that's when we'll understand a little bit better. Because to LaTanya's point, Trey Lance isn't getting developed right now, and they're not winning games. So what do we do? So like I said, tomorrow 1:30 Pacific Standard Time with Jason Aponte, Sprint Right Option Podcast. Watch the tape and I know I'm going to get even more depressed once I watch the tape. I've already been told that many times. But I like knowing why. I would much rather know why than just speculate why or continue to talk about what I saw on the cast. So you know what I'll be doing tonight? I'm going to be doing lots of tape review. I'll be pulling clips to kind of put together a story for tomorrow. So 1:30 Jason Aponte, probably a little bit later in the day, maybe 3, 4. We'll play it by ear for the actual film review. Bro, I've already seen clips. I know it's not going to be good, but I need it. I need to see it. I need to be able to be confident in what I'm talking about. So that's coming tonight. I'll probably be tweeting stuff out of some of the clips later tonight. Yep, later tonight. So we'll get into it. We're going to do the real post-mortem. We're going to figure it out. We'll do we got 2 weeks, right? We got this week. It's bye week, and then we got Colts. So we might do it a couple different ways. We might do an offensive line specific breakdown. We might do it. I think we need to do a Trey Lance specific breakdown, looking at progressions, looking at mechanics, looking at comfortability, looking at play design specific to Trey Lance. So we'll absolutely do a Trey Lance breakdown, which actually might be tomorrow. It sounds like that's what needs to be discussed. Is obviously the offensive line will be kind of in conjunction with the Trey Lance breakdown because they're in the plays. So let's aim for that tomorrow. 1:30 Jason Aponte. Let's say sometime between 3 or 4. We will do Trey Lance breakdown, which also means we're breaking down scheme, which is Kyle, breaking down the offensive line and how Trey Lance was reacting to those situations, and we'll get into it. JT did a good breakdown. I might check that out. JT does great stuff, dude. JT really I watched a ton of JT stuff during the draft process. He was a Fields guy. He was a Fields guy too. He touched on how badly the offense executed easy concepts. Man. Dude, trust me, like, coach, I know what you're saying. I know they didn't execute. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say they didn't execute. I know they didn't execute. I know they would have liked to do things better. So we'll see. So excited to do that, jump into that, and really, really break it apart. And well, guess what? We're going to talk about McGlinchey. We're going to talk about Brunskill. We're going to talk about Mac. You guys know I have a real soft spot in my heart. Big boys up front. And I do my best to give a fair and balanced assessment. And based on what I've seen from this group against Detroit, the Eagles, against the Packers, against the Eagles, against the Seahawks, I would say they've been slightly above average. I felt like as a group for those first 4 weeks, again, being anchored by the best offensive lineman in football, which is Trent Williams, I feel like they've been above average, like slightly above average. They're not world beaters, but they've been doing their job for the most part. So that's what I'm really excited to come back and report to you guys, whether it's tomorrow or Friday, on the offensive line breakdown. We're going to talk about the offensive line tomorrow, so let's not kid ourselves. We're going to talk about the offensive line tomorrow. Talk about Trey Lance tomorrow. We're going to talk about Kyle Shanahan. It's all going to be supported by tape. It's all going to be supported by tape, and we'll watch it live, break it down live, look at maybe things that you guys missed. You can point out things that I missed, and we can watch it together, because guess what? We get a marinate on this for 2 weeks now. Let's go, because Jimmy Garoppolo is apparently going to be starting quarterback again when everything comes back, when we come back around for week 7. So we're just going to see. We're going to see. We're going to have a lot to talk about. Before we break, any parting thoughts? Any parting questions? Great contributions today, Coach. That was a Coach and Brad pod today. I liked it though. Let's go. Positive vibes all day. Again, like, we can still not agree. That's what I love about this little community that we got brewing. It's like, we don't have to agree. Like, we can have different viewpoints, and I welcome different viewpoints in those things. So I love that Coach is challenging me. He's challenging me. I accept the challenge, Coach. And I'll tell you what, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna watch the tape. He's saying it's not on Kyle. It's on execution. It's on penalties. It's on drops. It's on the guys on the field executing. All right. Challenge accepted, my guy. I'm going to go into the tape again, but unbiased. I'm watching. I love the offensive line, but I know I'm probably going to come out of this tape review having a lot of not great things to say. So just trying to keep everything balanced. Don't want to lean one side too heavy or the other. But I think it'll be good. I think we'll learn a lot. I think we will. So that's going to be fun. I'm excited to get into that. Coach says Kyle needs to give up play calling and strictly manage games. It's time. Coaches, so deep down, Coach knows what I'm saying. Deep down, Coach knows. I mean, I don't know, man. There's something, and I think that's what we're trying to get to the bottom. It's just something. There's something, whether it's too much on this plate. There's something. Oh man. Oh, this is fun stuff, guys. This is fun stuff. I love this. I love this. Checkmate. It's fun. It's fun. But do we agree that we at least like what Trey has as a baseline traits, baseline, just who he is? Like, I think baseline, he's okay. I don't think he's bust. Hell yeah, appreciate all the guys. We're just a bunch of hey, we got some ladies in the chat. Latanya dropped the fires comment of the day. Shout out to Sourdough Sisters. Let's go. Sourdough Boys. All over the place. So yeah, Trey Lance has potential. Like, and that's, again, what was he? He was the fifth or fourth youngest quarterback to start ever in the history of the league that burns and turns quarterbacks like it's no one's business. He's the fourth youngest. Yeah, pretty good showing in my opinion. So again, I'm a big developmental guy. I was a developmental guy. I wasn't great at football, like, right off the jump. I had to figure it all out. I had to figure it all out and put it together to make it work. Some guys are like that. Some guys aren't. Just showing up, just smashing dudes. Like, it's a process. And everyone manages the process differently. Everyone grows and learns differently. So we got to make sure we're not holding guys to the same standards as anyone else. That makes sense. Trey's his own guy, and we'll see how it all develops from there. Hell yeah, bro. This is fun. Like, this kind of conversation is great. Dylan says, all hard feelings, coach. It's all love around here. See, look at this. This is the sourdough squad right here. This is what makes me happy. This is what we want here. This is what we want here. We don't want, like, I don't need you guys to, like, agree with me. Like I said, if coach challenged me, challenge accepted, coach. I'm about to jump in that tape. I'm either going to prove you wrong or you're going to prove me right. And that's what it's about, right? I'm open-minded. I'm open-minded, just as we all should be. And there it is. Positivity is the essence of teamwork. Sourdough Squad, teamwork. And we'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate you guys, as always. Appreciate everyone who likes and subscribes to the channel. You guys are really, really helping me grow a ton. And you guys know I'm very appreciative of you guys. Very, very appreciative of all these. It's crazy, man. It's crazy what we do here. I literally sit here and I talk into a microphone and just chop it up with you guys. And you guys make this hella fun for me. But you're also supporting me. You're supporting my business. You're supporting what I do. And just from the bottom of my heart, man, like, thank you all. Like, thank you guys. Like, literally, just a like on the video. Like, I love you guys. I appreciate it. Like, all those things, those little impacts, they help everything that we're doing and we're trying to grow. And I love the community that we're starting to build here. Sourdough Squad's real, man. And we're tiny right now. We're a nice, tight-knit community, but we are going to the moon, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to the moon. I was actually able to dive in full-time on this in January. So crazy that this is what I do for my job now. My job was so high stress, so high pressure before this. So it's nice. Like, it sucks, you know, like, the team lost and why are they losing and why are we having all these problems. But at the end of the day, man, we can talk about football. Like, I'm hyped, bro. I love it. It really is really, really fun for me. And again, I love that we can all kind of just chop it up and talk about this. I was a project manager, and then I was promoted up to business development executive in for an experiential marketing company. So we built and designed trade show exhibits, museum installations, lobby environment. So I'm in Silicon Valley. So we service like Microsoft, Apple. Like we're a big company. We had over 300,000 square feet of production facility. We did a lot. We did a lot, and I managed a lot of projects. Like I'm juggling 6 to 7 projects at one time. So obviously, with my industry, that industry is very face to face. It's very in person. So we got hit hard. I made it to about the end of the year because obviously the pandemic hit in March. I made it to about the end of the year. We had reduced our staff from almost 300 to about 30 by the time that like I was like one of the last waves. So I'm just happy, man. Happy that we get to do this. Hit the DMs. Best way to hit me is in the DMs. Unfortunately, it's not the greatest form of communication because my DMs are in shambles. I have so many messages, and I'm not very good at getting through them. Just try, though. I'll try and keep a lookout. I'll try to keep a lookout. Best way, DM on Instagram. DM on Instagram, but still. So is my Wi-Fi still bad? Is my Wi-Fi still bad? Call-ins. Damn it. I know Coach, did you send me something? If you did, I don't know if I've seen it yet. Like I said, you can hit me in the DMs, but my DMs are in shambles. Like I probably got over 300 DMs on Sunday. Like, so did you DM me, Coach? I can't remember. I might need to go. I might need to go back and look. Because I know you're trying to help me look at what goes into that. I have to go back and look. Did you? So don't remember. Sorry, I'm just looking really quick. God, my DMs are so embarrassing. My DMs are so embarrassing. Oh, I feel bad. Oh, yeah, there he is. He responded. I didn't read it. That sounds about right. Sounds about right. Yeah, he got it. Oh, there you go. Got it. My boy, Coach, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. So yeah, I think we might do call in. Let's look for, I think we do like a specific day. Maybe like a Friday or something, like a fan Friday. And we get takes calling in and coming in. So yeah. Because I know Coach has helped me out. I'm looking at one of the links he sent me. Like that's how like all over the place I am with either breaking down film, creating content, shooting lives, writing articles. I don't even have time to look up how to. That's so embarrassing. But shout out my guy Coach, man. Shout out my guy Coach. He's got it. He sent me a bunch of he sent me a bunch of stuff. So I'm gonna look at that and we'll get it cracking. But how about this? Let's end it there. And tomorrow will be a big day. Jason Aponte tomorrow, film study tomorrow, or film review tomorrow. And we'll do all that good stuff. So again, appreciate you all. Thank you all for always watching, supporting, commenting, liking. We appreciate you. So until next time, you guys be safe. Have a blessed day. And we'll be back again.